Today is Sunday, September 21st, 2025. All praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, forever and forever. So let it be true. Love, honor, and respect to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His Holy Son, Yahweh Shai, who died for the 12 tribes of Israel. Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. Matthew chapter 10, verse 5 and 6. And double honors to the apostles of GMS, to the 4 major prophets, to the 12 minor prophets, and to the brothers, the Akim, the 144,000, the saints who are preaching the word of God on the 4 corners of this earth, risking their lives day in and day out. And peace and blessings to all my brothers, sisters, and children who are watching this video. We're on another lesson. And tonight is a partial solar eclipse. And those are signs from God. All right, the one that happened a couple of weeks back, that was a sign of the purge that's coming. It's actually, the meaning was a reset, because everything is, like I said, it's all getting purged. All right, everything's getting purged right now, especially with jobs. All right, there was a report out. There was going to be over 300 million people losing their jobs worldwide from AI, artificial intelligence. All right, that they're going to replace all the office jobs. Office jobs are done. Okay, I mean, things are going to get bad. We've been 3 years. We've been in recession. Starting in 2026, you're gonna feel the depression of 2026, 2027, 2028. All right, we've been talking about the recession. Really, the recession goes back probably to 2007, 2008. All right, but the Federal Reserve just kept on printing money and was keeping all these the banks alive, and all these government jobs, state jobs, county and city jobs. It's all by the government, by printing this money. But starting in 2025, it was game over. It was time to purge. All right. Like I said, look up. There's books. Look up the 4th turning, and that goes back to the Holy Book. We're in that time. Okay, we've been warning for decades. The prophets have been warning the people for decades of what's coming. Okay, but this solar eclipse is meaning to get your house in order. That's the meaning of getting right with God. Okay, getting your house in order and being prepared. We're gonna talk a little bit about Joseph, and we're gonna go into the dream that my sister had. And I want to go into a couple articles. You can look this up. Coca-Cola layoffs, because people every day they're starting to wake up and they're saying no to soda. Is of all the sugar. So people are waking up, and then you have the food stamps that are blocking people that have I think it's EBT food stamp cards, that are stopping from buying soda pop, potato chips, candy, certain items. It rejects. I'm going to look up the article right now, because I have it saved in my phone. Let me see here. Coca-Cola downloading here. Coca-Cola abruptly cancels a $500 million U.S. factory with 200 jobs gone. It says Coca-Cola is having a rough year. And between shutting down factories as Americans gradually migrate away from soda, because people are starting to wake up, you get you get sick, you get diabetes and leukemia from having all the sugar that they put in the soda and what they're putting in the food. It's filled with sugar, and that's why people get sick. Okay, and between shutting down factories as Americans gradually migrate away from soda and the new snap soda bans that could deprive Coke of millions of customers, the situation seems to be getting worse instead of better. There's a whole article. It says, so it's not a huge surprise that Coca-Cola recently decided to cancel a big planned factory in Denver, Colorado. But it is still disappointing for sure. The canceled facility, which would have been a bottling canning plant near the Denver International Airport, would have created 200 jobs for hardworking Coloradans, and it came with a price of $500 million. This would have been a huge injection of cash for Denver's economy. That won't happen now. All kinds of businesses are pulling back investment as the trade war heightens uncertainty and the economy gets increasingly wobbly. All right, the economy's done. I mean, I can go from article to article. It is nonstop. And then look up Sundance. They're closing all 16 locations. They're closing all 16 of their locations. I know I have some more. Let me see here. Well, this was another good article that came in. More Colorado workers turning to part-time work as a way to pay monthly bills. Layoffs and hiring freezes are leading more people to get part-time jobs to pay the bills. And financial analysts show it's casting doubt on the labor market. The whole thing about on CNBC, NBC, CNN, and Fox is all lies. They've been lying to you about inflation. What was it? I'll do the next couple of days more on. I believe they said the inflation went up 2.5%, which is a lie. Okay, they find what they do is they find animal cookies, the cheapest thing they could find in a grocery store, and say that the animal cookies go up 25 cents, and they'll say, well, that's the inflation that went up 2.5%. All right, but they're not letting you know, like steak, beef, fish, that's going through the roof. The other day I was at Sam's Club, I was looking at the steak. Okay, one of my sons wanted some steak. I stopped eating steak. Okay, I just stay with fish, chicken, and turkey. Okay, and sometimes I'll eat some lamb once in a great time. But like I said, I'm more on fish, and mostly I'm eating a lot of salads. Some days I don't eat no meat. I just stay on salads. A lot of my greens and olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Okay, I pick my vegetables and my fruits every day. I make my own food. Okay, so when you go back to the meat, the meat's expensive. The steak that I was buying for $15 is now $50. The same thing. So some of this stuff is doubled and tripled. So they lie to the people, and you have people that really they read these articles and they believe it. Oh, 2% ain't that bad. It's based on animal cookies or some crackers or something in the store, something that's very low. It's not keeping up with what people need, their protein. All right. Then I seen some things, Dorito potato chips. I believe in some cities and states it's going from $8 to $10 a bag of chips. All right. I don't even go in those aisles. This is something what I read. right? Different cities are higher than others. Like Colorado is very expensive. California, New York City, the New York area, and New Jersey, very expensive for food and to rent or to buy. The houses are they're overpriced. All right, because they're gonna like I said they're gonna destroy. They've been destroying American families. All right, they're going to be totally destroyed. That's why you brothers and sisters have to be prepared. But going back to this article, a lot of these people that worked in the private sector and for government that made 125,000, 170,000, $200,000 a year, they got laid off, they got fired. They're not going to ever find that job again. The gravy train is gone. That train has left the building. Right? They're not even getting hired at Home Depot. I see some people in some of these videos, college graduates, people that went to Ivy League schools, they can't even get hired at Starbucks, McDonald's. They're overqualified. And they wouldn't be able to hang with these people anyway. All right? Because they never worked these blue collar type jobs, which you have to use both hands. See, I'm in the culinary arts. You got to use both hands, and you got to be fast. I've seen guys, I worked at restaurants, guys that came out of culinary school that couldn't keep up with guys from Latin America. All right, straight from the streets, from the ghettos, and from the slums of Latin America. These kids were fast in the kitchen. And these kids from the culinary schools that paid $50,000, $90,000, $150,000 for their degree walked out the kitchen. Like I said, when it gets too hot, people leave. All right, you got to be very calm when you're in the kitchen. You have to, it's a very stressful, and it's on the mind. There's so many tickets. If you're at a fast-paced restaurant, you got to be fast, but you got to be calm. Okay. But some people, their anxiety, it's just too much pressure, and they just walk out. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys that went to school for it, thought it was great. Yeah, it's nice being at home making something to eat, but it's a completely different animal in the kitchen, especially at fast-paced restaurants where you have tickets from here down to there, and you got to be fast with your mind. Okay, that's on another lesson, talking about the kitchen. But people, these Ivy League kids, these kids that went to college, they can't find jobs, and they're definitely can't even find a job at Home Depot. But to go out there in the thick of things, they're not. You're not going to see. They're not going to make it on a roofing, or on the streets, construction, and that's all getting cut too. This is like a dominoes effect. All right, so you brothers and sisters, this is the time to get your house in order, and you better have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. You understand? Find other ways of making money. You gotta have a plan. Okay? Now let's go back to this article. Well, these people are trying to find full-time jobs. They got fired, they got laid off. They're trying to find a full-time job, but they're not out there. So they're trying to find anything to eat. Okay? Who controls the food controls the population. And that's one of Esau's blessings, is the food. And that's how they're gonna squeeze everybody under the sun. And that's why these prices are just going right through the roof. Okay? So it says layoffs and hiring freezes are leading more people to get part-time jobs to pay the bills. And financial analysts show it's casting doubt on the labor market. It's all lies. The national baseline unemployment remains low at 4.3%. But that's a lie. All right. I believe right now it's at 30 to 40%. This is all lies, but that would start a panic. They're not letting the true numbers of how many people got laid off and fired. All right. And like I said, 2026, I'm going to say millions. And it's already happening. This is a dominoes effect that's happening right now. People are not prepared for what's coming. So the national, let me see here. The national baseline unemployment remains low at 4.3%, but there are issues bubbling under the surface as people are struggling to find full-time work in a market where hiring has slowed significantly. Take 34-year-old Denverite James Reynolds, for example. He worked for Apple and other prestigious startups as a software engineer, making a six-figure salary for years. But he currently works 20 hours a week at a sandwich shop in Denver, making $18 an hour. Okay, because that's our that's our minimum wage. It's $18.29 or something. California and Colorado or Denver, because the suburbs, the minimum wage is lower. I believe Arapahoe County, Jefferson County, it's around, I think, $14.50 or $15.50. Lately I haven't looked at it, but it's a few dollars lower than Denver. Okay, but to make it in Denver, even $18 is nothing, right? You can't even buy a studio. You can't survive on $18 an hour. In Denver, you have to be at least making $30 an hour to live in a studio, to buy food, to put gas in your vehicle, to buy clothing. You have to be at least $30 an hour. And you can look up at my old videos the last few years. I said with inflation, if you're making $10 an hour, with inflation, you're really only making $1. Okay, because your wages are down here. Everything else is 80% doubled. All right, there's no way inflation's up 2-3%. That's a lie. I mean, and I think 2025, everybody got knocked off their high horse, knocked off their high chair. All right, the fun and games are over. Even rich people now are not even going out to eat. There's a video, if I have time, I'll put it up, but it shows in Miami all these high-class restaurants. So this is the slowest year they can't remember any time this slow. And we're talking about high-end restaurants that people are not showing up. All right, there's going to be a day, and it's coming fast, that McDonald's, all your McDonald's are going to close, all your Burger Kings. No one's going to afford. That goes back to the four dreaded horsemen. All right, it goes back into the black horse, famine and hyperinflation. Okay, we've been warning you, but this thing is moving quickly. 2026 is going to be bad. This was a bad year, and it went fast. This is the fastest year I never remember a year this fast. Can't believe we're almost going to be in October. I mean, this went quick. All right, this month just went like this. What is today? The 21st. It's unbelievable. Like I said, it's crazy. But this guy had worked for Apple, and now he's working at a sandwich shop, making minimum wage, 20 hours a week. He said despite his qualifications, it's been a tough finding work in his field, as artificial intelligence has added increasing levels of competition. More Colorado workers turning to part-time work, a way to pay monthly bills. It says Reynolds spoke with Denver Channel 7 News after returning from a job interview. It's one of several he's recently had as he looks for full-time work. When the current economic climate, Reynolds said it's made living even tougher for him. You get to the point where you have a six-figure salary and you think, oh man, I've made it. I'm in the club, I'm one of the people who's got a little bit of spare change lying around. I can sort of make plans, Reynolds said. Then when things change and then all of a sudden you're at minimum wage and basically scraping for change in the tip jar. This is perfect balance. This goes back to Ecclesiastes. I always bring that scripture out. There's a time to be born, there's a time to die, there's a time to build, and there's a time to tear down. There's a time that you start your job, you start your business. Then there's a day you lose your job. You have to close down your shop. Our God in the Holy Book is a God of perfect balance. See, he was making a six figure. He thought that was going to last forever. He didn't know this truth. All right? I've always lived a humble life. But people, what happens, they start making this big money. Instead of buying a one-bedroom home, a two-bedroom home, staying humble, they go for the 5-bedroom home with the 7 bathrooms, 2 acres. So that money that they're making, it goes quick. All right, and this is not going to last forever. Just like every nation under the sun God has destroyed. There was a beginning and there's an end. There was a beginning of Assyria, there was an end. A beginning of Babylon, there was an end. A beginning of Egypt, and there was an end. A beginning of Persia, and then there was an end. The beginning of Alexander the Great, Greece, and then there was an end. Then Rome, and then there was the fall. Well, the same thing here with America. These people think in their minds, in their arrogance, this is going to last forever. We're at the end of this. Then when things change, all of a sudden, your minimum wage and basically scraping for change in the tip jar. Because your money, I don't care how much money you have put away, it's going to go. When you don't have a job, that money is going to disappear. Because you need to eat. You need to pay the bills. So having 100,000, before you know it, goes down to 90, to 80, to 60, to 40, to 30, to 10, to 0. Then you're looking around for change. So what goes up must come down. Rich and poor will be the same. And the Most High, He's behind this. That's Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. He controls the right and the left. And the Most High's done with this place. And once America goes down, and it's already crumbling, the whole world's going down. Because the United States made the nations rich. Because Americans consume everything. But it's coming to an end, especially with these tariffs. I see people, they're getting hit with $200, $300, $400 on these tariffs. I see these. I seen a business here in Colorado. I'll have time, I'll put that video up. And the pottery, anything that's coming out of this country, they're getting beat down with the tariffs, with all these extra cost. I mean, the Americans, citizens, the American people are being beat down with inflation. This is not helping nothing. This is the nail in the coffin. Everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth is a lie. Your Congress, your Senate, your lobbyists, your governors, it's all lies. This whole thing's coming down. There's nothing nobody could do. But this guy's getting a rude awakening. Okay? A rude awakening. I find myself, says, I had to pinch pennies. I found myself asking, is today a day where I really need to have 2 meals? This isn't something just happening here in Colorado, but nationally as well. Federal unemployment data, which includes people working part-time who would prefer a full-time job, is currently 8.1%, its highest level in 4 years. But that, like I said, more lies. Don't believe on the data that's coming out. If they put the real numbers out, people would totally panic because they think this economy is going to come back. It's never coming back. It's game over. Okay, this guy's going to be in the streets. All right, but he was never in this truth. he would have humbled himself and put that money away and bought gold and silver, he would, if he had his house in order and knew what real money is, you could survive. Okay, we can go back on that, but I'm gonna make this short, this video. I have to go pick up my son from work, but when we're talking about being prepared, you have to be prepared. Okay, and I've been preparing for decades. Okay, my oldest daughter, her name is Genesis. Okay, and she's working grocery. Okay, and then she prepared. Okay, and she took a year off from work because she was already getting burned out, or it was just getting too much, and she's focusing on herbs and essential oils. Okay, that's what she wants to do. And I told my daughter, I said, hit the brakes. I said, take time off, because she needs, that's where she has her plan A, plan B, and that's what she wants. She doesn't want to work for these companies, these corporate companies no more, because they don't care about you. All right, they'll replace you. They will work you to the bone, and then when you burn out, you crash. They throw you in the trash, and there's a new person coming up. Will come, and they'll use them until they destroy them mentally, physically, and spiritually. All right, you're just looked as trash. Corporate companies don't care about you. And then you have a lot of these dummies that go to Starbucks, they're going to all these corporations. You're going to learn the hard way. You got to make your own coffee at home, make your own food. You have to save every penny, because we're living in dark times. But she's taking a whole year off. This has been her 4th month. And I told her, she's very humble. I might bring her on one of these videos, but she don't even want to be seen. Okay? But she could explain a lot of things that were happening at work. All right, with the corporate overseers and just the people in general coming to the stores, being angry, and then they go after, they fight with the employees because of the prices of what's going on. And it's out of their hands. They're just employees, they're just workers. All right. But like I said, the Rothschilds control the corporations, and they're going to put the big squeeze on you. These prices are only going to go up. Okay. But she's this been her 4 months, and I told her, I said, it's probably going to take you 3 months to recover. And she told me on the 3rd month, she said, at the end of the 3 months, she said it took her that long to just to feel peace. That job that she had in grocery totally just practically took her out. And now she's focused on her own business. And that's why you have to have a plan A, plan B. Okay? So it took her 3 months to recover. She's in herbalism school, dealing with herbs and essential oils, and she's been doing this since she was a young girl. That's what she's been into. But now she's taking it very, very serious. And I told her she could take all the time she wants off. Okay, because I prepared. She was prepared. She was prepared for these days, these dark days coming. All my kids. Okay, we're one body. I've been telling them it's the end of the world since they were little children. All right, I've been saying it's the end of the world since I was a little boy. But the ones that are prepared are going to survive. And the men and women who lived ungodly lives and lived foolishly were out there just spending, consuming everything. They're going to be destroyed, and their children. Remember, the United States government doesn't care about you or your children. No one cares. No one cares. Remember that. All right? Your government doesn't care about you. These people don't care about you. These jobs, these corporations, they're going to cut. Once they start losing money, they're going to start cutting. All these businesses are going to fold. All right, that's why you have to be prepared. Like Joseph goes back to the times of Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. All the great men understood perfect balance. There's going to be good times and bad times. Days of plenty, plenty of food, and days of famine, no food. And I see videos where people are only eating one meal a day. People that they don't know what they're gonna how to feed their animals. All right, and that's another thing I want to talk about. They're finding people that can't take their animals no more. They can't feed them no more. Excuse me. They can't feed them. Hard times are coming, and some people are taking their dogs to the animal shelters. But if they don't get sold, they kill them. They put them down. So a lot of people are just letting their animals go out to have a fighting chance. But that's a better thing. Cats, they'll survive out there. Dogs, they're gonna survive too. Okay, I'm gonna bring out some videos that show that there's packs of dogs all over, everywhere in the United States. In San Diego, San Bernardino, Texas. I watched one in Texas that they're terrorizing cities, and that goes back to the four dreaded horsemen. It talks about the animals attacking the people. And they said these packs of dogs that were in Texas, they're not talking about like 6, 8 dogs running around. They said these packs are from 30 to 50 dogs, and they're attacking people. These dogs, and this is the times that we're living in, these dogs are survivors. They're going to go out and you're walking down the street, you're jogging, they're going to run up on you and rip you to pieces. There's one video, it was a Spanish girl, it was in Southern California, and she was coming home, and a pack, I think about 10, 15 dogs got her, and she survived. Neighbors had to come out. If those neighbors wouldn't have came out, she would have been dead. She got bit all over her body. Okay, this is going to be happening. You're going to have cats, you're going to have dogs out there, and it's going to get crazy. And then you got wildlife that are just going to go attack people, all right, looking for food. Things are going to, like I said, things are moving quickly. But going back to Joseph in the Holy Book, he was a man of great wisdom, and God gave him that knowledge and wisdom, all right. And that's where the Pharaoh, when Joseph interpreted his dream, he made Joseph the second to the Pharaoh, all right. And he was wisely managing food and grain, wheat and grain, during that time of famine, all right. But I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. We'll continue tomorrow. We're going to get into Joseph. Probably talk a little bit about Noah, the days that we're living in. God's going to start purging. Okay? Back then it was water, and this time around it's going to be fire. All right? God's going to scorch all the farms, and all these farmers are going bankrupt all over the United States. They're actually on their knees begging Trump for help, and he's not helping them. He's giving that money to Israel, giving that money to Ukraine. They're all about war. All right, this country's about war. They want the whole world. All right, the Rothschilds want the whole world in their hands, total control. All right, so you brothers and sisters better get prepared for what's coming. All right, because starvation's coming, famine is coming, evil times are approaching. They're moving quickly, and this whole U.S. job market, it's collapsing. All right, you're going to see the biggest U.S. housing crash ever. You're going to see people jumping out of buildings soon because they're going to lose everything. All right, and a lot of these people that were on top, that live a nice lavish lifestyle, they don't know how to be poor, and they don't want to be poor, so they're going to commit it. All right, people right now are losing it. The stress levels are way up here, man. Men, women, they're starting to worry about how they're going to pay these bills, how they're going to eat. Things are going to get evil in every American city, and people are going to lose it. So if all you brothers and sisters were edified, it was more of about the news, but I tie it in with the Holy Scriptures. But brothers and sisters, get prepared for what's coming. Thank you for watching.